It's the Extremist movie debate. And tonight we're talking 2000s Miss Congeniality.
I am Joe.
I am Garrick.
One of us is going to hate this movie.
Let the coin decide their fate.
I hate it.
Yes! Oh my god. I love
Rick
it.
loves it. Hey guys, don't infiltrate our amazing webcast and trick us by being a beautiful lady. There are spoilers ahead.
All right, and this movie currently holds a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah,
It should
That
be
makes
higher.
sense. It should be lower.
all right,
No.
so since this, Garrick, since you love this movie, this first question comes to you. This comes from
That's because the movie's bad enough.
What?
this comes from Peter Travers of Rolling Stone. Old Petey says, unless you think it's a riot to watch Bullock fall over herself repeatedly in high heels, this miss is a mess. So I love the pun, and also being released in the 2000s, goofy slapstick comedies were running rampant. Where do you feel this stacks up compared to the other comedies of the time? You have 1 minute.
Thank you, Peter, for your comments about Miss Congeniality, and I appreciate your feedback. But what you don't know about Miss Congeniality is that it has incredible rewatch value. You can watch this every time and discover something new, something more exciting. Other comedies back in the days just don't have that same rewatch value. You've seen it, you know what happens, no big deal. But Miss Congeniality, there's heart, there's feeling. Sandra Bullock makes you feel something. You feel connection to this character that I feel like most comedies don't have. And also, there's little jabs in there, like William Shatner says shit on stage. I mean, that's a little edgy. It's not just falling on top of her, but there's some backup comedy that comes up with that. So I think this is hilarious. I love watching Miss Congeniality. I think I could watch it on repeat multiple times every day of my life, and I'm fine with that. Sorry, Peter.
Okay, thank you, Joe. You have 30 seconds to respond.
Stop laughing at me.
As far as rewatch value, The Big Lebowski came out in 1999, a year before Miss Congeniality, and that's an actual movie with rewatch value because you get more out of the story and you get more out of the characters every time you watch it. Whereas Miss Congeniality, as Peter Travers was saying, is just this mishmash of failed like physical comedy. How many times do we have to watch Sandra Bullock fall over? How many times do we have to see like, oh, she's ugly because she has glasses and frizzy hair? Oh my God, take the glasses off and fix her hair and she's beautiful. Like, how many times do we have to see that?
Thanks, Joe. And also, we did just watch She's All That the other night, so thank you.
Congratulations.
Garrick, you have 15 seconds to respond.
Yeah, I see what you mean about take her glasses off, fix her hair, she's beautiful again. But there's some heart there. She does a lot of personal growth that makes it more engaging. It's not just about becoming hot, but it's about her growing up to be a woman and understand what it means.
Thanks, Garrick. Joe, you have a final 15 to respond.
I feel like the end goal is to try to prove that like you don't have to be like gorgeous to be a woman, and she like realizes that, like she's coming to terms with it, but it's all centered around her looking good. Like that's the focal point of the movie, and that's a
Okay, be quiet, Joe.
You're missing the big picture.
But actually, that point leads me into my next question, and it comes to you, Joe. It's from Nell Minnow of Common Sense Media. Nell says, Bullock, the producer, found a pretty good vehicle for Bullock, the actress, in this clever variation on the classic Hollywood makeover movie. Excuse me, as in its predecessors, from Cinderella to My Fair Lady to Pretty Woman, Miss Congeniality is at its core the story of an ugly duckling who finds empowerment and a boyfriend after a few pointers on good grooming and accessorizing. So the Bechdel test is comprised of 3 questions to figure out if a movie is considered a feminist film. How do you feel this movie portrays women's empowerment? You have 1 minute.
It fails. It fails hard because the movie is centered around like you can only be like a fully formed woman if you're beautiful, and the only way you're gonna find true love is if you're beautiful and you actually give into the superficial, like surface level aspects of life and looking good. Because Benjamin Bratt was not interested in Sandra Bullock when she was like true to herself. Since she had the frizzy hair and the glasses, he wasn't interested. He wasn't only interested as soon as he saw how beautiful she could be, and that's bullshit. And that's like pushing the wrong agenda on a whole like. And this movie's PG-13, so this movie is like aimed at like young women. So this is the wrong message to be like trying to inundate them with.
Okay, Garrick, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Leave it to a straight white male to not see the feminist beauty of this movie. Let me educate you, Joe. If you look at it, Sandra Bullock hates the Miss United States pageant from the beginning. She's like, these women are stupid, I'm never gonna fit in. But since she put herself in there, she learned that these women have different stories and that she empowers these women, and these women empower her to be stronger and to be more beautiful. So that's where the feminist message is coming out. Yeah, I see what you mean about Benjamin Bratt being like, oh, she's beautiful now. But
Thanks, Garrick. Joe, you have 15 seconds to respond.
She doesn't empower anybody. They're nice to her, and she's surprised that they're nice. And then she's like, I guess I was wrong. Like, that's the shortest amount of growth you could possibly have, and it falls flat and it rings false.
Okay, thank you, Garrick. You have a final 15.
she makes everyone see that you can be tough and beautiful, and she really does want world peace. And the girls help her see that. That's how she empowers people.
All right, perfect. And we're going to open up the floor for discussion. You guys have 4 minutes to debate and go.
Listen, I understand why you love this movie. You
Thank
watched
you.
this movie. No, I mean, you watched this movie as a young man. I watched Batman and Robin when I was very young, and I loved it. And I have this like this affection for it because I loved it when I was growing up. But rewatching it, it's a terrible movie.
No, it's
and
not.
I understand,
I don't agree with
understand that
that.
you can't get past your own biases
No,
about this movie.
I don't have any bias.
But that's what it is. Like, this is a bad movie, and it's pushing the
No.
wrong sort of message
No.
to the intended audience.
No.
And I think we can do away with it. I feel like we've
No.
done enough of this. Like, we don't need this movie anymore. And how did this movie get a sequel? That's the other part of it.
Okay, you were bridging some deep territory with the sequel. The sequel is kind of scary. I will agree with that. But what you don't know is that this movie piloted Sandra Bullock as a major force in the movie cinema business. She
No,
did
I
Speed,
think The Net did
Forces
that.
of Nature, Net. That was all like, whatever.
Net came before
Sandra Bullock
this.
back then. I know it did come before that. But this was the movie
Demolition
where
Man.
people were like, whoa, who is that woman and why don't I know her yet?
And why did people do that? People did that because, oh, this is a beautiful woman. Because look at the
No.
net, look at the net,
What?
look at Speed, look at those movies. She's just kind of a dumpy, like, she's just a dumpy girl.
This
just being
has
like,
very
I'm on
little
a bus, Keanu Reeves, save me, I got frizzy hair.
Sandra
so all
Bullock-
of a sudden she makes Miss Congeniality, and she's beautiful, and people are like, oh, this is a
No,
beautiful
it has
woman to pay
nothing
attention
to do with her beauty. I mean, her
that is
beauty is
essentially
part of
what
it.
you just said, though.
Well, I'm saying that she brought a lot of complex.
You're saying Miss Congeniality made Sandra Bullock this sex symbol.
No, I did not say that. I said it made her something that people are like, who
A
is this
sex
actress? I
symbol.
want to know more
I
about.
wanna know more about
because
this
she has a
beautiful
lot of
actress.
story to tell. She gave a great, compelling argument for this character that we can all sympathize with. We can all be great. We all understand where Gracie Hart's coming from.
So shouldn't
we
the
don't belong.
screenwriter be getting all this like praise, not Sandra Bullock?
No,
What did
because
Sandra
Bullock
do?
brought
She's just a
the
stand-in.
character to
Anybody
a real
could have
place.
done that. Katherine
They
Heigl.
brought-
That could have been Katherine
No,
Heigl.
oh my
In
God,
fact, that
Katherine
was
Heigl would have been
Katherine
so
Heigl.
terrible. She would have been like, I'm Katherine Heigl, help me.
So
Whereas
what does Sandra Bullock bring to it that Katherine Heigl couldn't?
Sandra Bullock brings class. She brings humor. Because Katherine Heigl can't
Heigl
do anything funny. No, she can't
was
do
in
anything
Knocked Up.
funny.
That's one of the funniest movies of
Yeah,
the
that
first
was not.
decade
She
of
had
this.
nothing to do with that. It just happened.
Was
to
it the
be.
screenwriter?
I don't know.
It's weird
You
how
tell
you
me.
say it. It's weird how you say
tell
it
me.
because
It was
Miss
not Katherine
Congeniality-
Heigl that made that
Miss
movie good.
Congeniality.
Sandra Bullock
I
made
would
this
say
movie
is
good.
because of the screenwriter, not because of Sandra Bullock.
Well, also, not only is Sandra Bullock in this movie that's making it good, you have Michael Caine who's doing a great foil for her. And I think those two characters have a great heart and a great story to tell, which makes this movie...
let's see more of him. He was a much more interesting character than Sandra Bullock was, so why aren't we seeing
No,
more
he
of him?
wasn't. Well, he was interesting. He was so stereotypical.
You're the one that just said he was good in it.
He
Now you're
was
saying
good.
he's
I'm
bad.
saying he was good, but I'm
Now
saying
you're saying
Sandra
he's
Bullock.
bad.
No,
What are you
I'm not
doing?
saying that.
Pick a side,
You
Garrett.
are taking
Pick a
my
side.
words away from me and making me
I
look stupid.
would never do that.
You would.
I only argue the facts.
Please.
All right, I'll stop you guys there. All right, what do you really feel about this movie?
This movie is a lot of fun. No, I mean this movie. Like, I know this is legitimately Garrick's favorite movie. So like, not to like diminish that, but like, I don't think there's like, it's not doing like a ton of new stuff. Like Jeff said, like gave that like list of stuff, but like Sandra, or the list of other movies that it's kind of like emulating. But Sandra Bullock is like, she's very charming, and this movie proves how charming Sandra Bullock can be. I think this is her peak charm.
Peak charm.
And she's really funny. Like she is. That's the other part. She's a funny lady. I could have done without like the Benjamin Bratt business. Like, don't make him a love interest. Like, this movie, you don't need a love interest. Because the movie is about Sandra Bullock getting over her own biases. So just focus on that.
Yeah, if I
cut
could-
out the love stuff.
If I could jump in for a sec, where that review said it's at its core the story of an ugly duckling who finds empowerment in a boyfriend. Like, she was like a good like FBI agent, so she was already pretty empowered as a character, and it was like the boyfriend thing was very like tacked on.
Yeah, I think it doesn't add anything. It's not functioning within the story, so it's unneeded. And just I think it's something that the studio is just like, oh, it's like a rom-com.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and it was released like in December of 2000, so it was around the holiday season. They got to get people in with the rom-com, the romance and stuff. So I agree. I think the romance is a little, it's like, I could do without. But at the same time, I think Benjamin Bratt is very handsome. I almost said fine, but I said fansome. So, anywho, I think that works. In the end, I think it doesn't really add to the story, but it doesn't really detract to the story for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But was he in the sequel?
He wasn't. He broke up with her in the sequel. How awful. Probably because he had like
Was it
contract
off screen?
Yeah. He
Broke up. It just opens on her being an ugly duckling eating ice cream, being like.
No, it doesn't open on that.
I don't think I've ever actually seen the sequel.
Yeah, the sequel you really don't need to see, except Regina King's in it, and she's fabulous. So they're hilarious.
Okay, well, what would you guys rate the movie?
I'd give this movie. I'd give it like a 6.5, 7. Let's say a 6.75 with no thunder.
6.75 with no thunder. That's offensive. I am biased. I will admit. So I gotta knock it down a little bit. I'm gonna give it a 9.
We have rarely given 10s on the show, actually.
Yeah,
even some of our favorite movies.
I think Fargo and Terminator are like the two movies we've given 10s to.
I've watched very few movies that make it to a 10 for me, and Miss Congeniality could do a few things to push it there, but it's not there. It's definitely at the low end of a 9 because I just think it's hilarious. I was just watching the other day with my mom and dad, and they were like, wow, we forgot how good this movie was. And even my parents, old Fargies they are, loved it.
Fargies?
Fargies? Is that a word?
I don't think. Oh, fogies.
Fogies. What's Fargies mean?
I don't know. That just sounds like a slur.
It does.
Where can we find us?
Oh man, Garrick just got super offensive. You can find us on Facebook. You can find it, just Extremist Movie Debate on Facebook.
Twitter.
Twitter is Extremist Movie. Instagram is Extremist Movie Debate. You can email us. Nobody's going to email us, but you can. extremistmoviedebate@gmail.com.
We forgot the password.
Panspending. Thank you, Panspending. You can find us at emd.panspending.com.
Artificialwood.panspending.com. Patreon. We might start it.
I'm halfway through building that.
Ooh.
Yeah. Thanks so much. And Garrick, thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
Stop.
Garrick.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, and good night.